Hey everybody, welcome to the Power of Connection broadcast. My name is Bob Umara and I'm here with Leigh Mitchell. Welcome, Leigh.
Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
I'm so excited to have you because Lee's a friend of mine and we worked together for lots of opportunities over the last several years. And I'm really excited to have you on my live stream, which I haven't been doing very much lately. Power of Connection broadcast normally broadcast on Wednesday mornings, 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I decided to make an exception for Friday the 13th and for Leigh because she was available now, and so I'm so glad to have you here. And we're going to talk about actually how to branding your brilliance will help your resilience. And it's something I think we all need. We all need more resilience. We all need more branding and more focus and impact in our lives. So I'm super excited to actually have this conversation with you. Now, if you're just joining us, for the most part, I like to make these things very, very interactive. So we want you to comment below and say, number one, where are you from? And number two, ask questions. Do you have questions about resilience? Do you have questions about branding? Do you have questions about how to actually take your branding to that next level? I'll let Leigh share a bit about her story, but generally speaking, she's the founder of the Women in Biz Network, and so she helps women, entrepreneurs and business women to get that next level. And she's a personal brand strategist, and she and I have worked together, and we actually are collaborating on a workshop that we're running for people very soon. So I'm really excited about that. So if you are part of this thing, you can heart, clap, light bulb, all that kind of stuff. You can tell us where you're from. First of all, are you from North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Australia, Africa? We always get people from all over. And you can ask your questions about what you're going through, or even share your story, or what are your biggest challenges during COVID and right now as an entrepreneur, or as a woman in business, or working on your career, or how can you leverage personal branding to take your career, business, or life to that next level? That's really what we want to talk about today. So I want you all to share your stuff, tag people, share some on your own page, but let's get people part of the conversation. And to start, let's start with Leigh, actually. Why don't you share a bit about your story, your personal story, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so, entrepreneurship was something that I had a lot of fear around because in my backstory and my personal why was when I was growing up, my father owned a resort during just around the time of the 90s recession. And so, it was one of those things, like I loved working in his business. I got to run camp programs there. I cleaned cottages. It was a neat experience. I met people from all over the world who stayed there. And unfortunately, his business, it hit the dust. It went under, and he lost everything. And as an impressionable young 16-year-old, I saw him suffer. He ended up with some mental illness issues, and it was really tough to see. So for a long time, I was like, I am going to find the safest career I could possibly have. So I went, yeah, of course. Like, who wants to have that happen to them? So I went into marketing for the city of Mississauga in recreation, which is something that, again, from my father, I really loved because he was always in recreation, and I have a lifelong love of being active and promoting that to communities. So I did that for about 15 years. And then I had children, and out of my own needs, decided that I wanted to create a network for women entrepreneurs to connect, because when I was starting my own marketing and branding business, when I left to pursue that, I realized that there were so many things I didn't know. I didn't know a lot about, business structures. I didn't know about, who to contact to get things done. And so once I started building my own contacts and people that I knew could do things and, how to get stuff done, I thought, why not share this information with others? So I hosted my tweet up, because back in those days, it was still early days of Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, this was like in 2009, just after the birth of my second son. And I hosted a live tweet up, and it got a lot of engagement and interest. And people came up to me at that event and said, we'd really love to see you host more events. So that's how Women in Biz Network was born. And in recent years, so our business does a lot of different things for women. We offer mentorship opportunities. We offer a career board. We consult on diversity and inclusion initiatives for corporations that are looking to have more meaningful work opportunities for women and to engage women to stay in their companies. And I also do personal branding with my clients, mainly women who are looking to get to the next level and to build on their strengths and to amplify their voice. So when your branding course, when you introduced me to that, I thought, oh my gosh, the women in my community, they need this. They need to understand themselves. Because when I look back on it now, first I really worked on building Women in Biz Network as the brand, but I didn't really focus on Leigh Mitchell and what Leigh Mitchell stands for, and how I wanted to incorporate myself, how I wanted to show up for the Women in Biz Network brand. So, if I had that type of course that you created back then, I would have saved a lot of time and energy and a lot of rebrands. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. That's sort of how I've gotten to where I am now.
That's awesome. So we're here with Leigh Mitchell, founder of Women in Biz Network, talking about how to brand your brilliance and find and be able to find some resilience. And that's what we're talking about today. And yes, the course she's talking about is I put together a personal branding discovery course where I've taken my day-long workshops to where I take them through the entire process of my methodology, and I've made it all online. So this online course has 25 short videos, 30 plus exercises, 20 plus hours of homework materials to help you really carve and craft and understand the self-analysis needed to really understand your brand. And if you do that, then you can start designing and delivering on that more focused, clear brand out there in the marketplace. That's really what it is. And other people are saying hello, Yusuf from Tunisia. Hello, Rita from Orlando. Alina also said hello. So people are commenting. We want you to comment. Let us know where you're calling in from, and let us know if you have questions too. Because if you have questions on resilience or personal branding, what my big question to you is, what is your biggest challenge or struggle with personal branding and finding resilience through your career path? That's what I really want to understand from those people. So if you are here, certainly comment on that. Alina just said she shared this on her Facebook page and looking forward to finding out the strategic entrepreneurship approach that Leigh followed and implemented in her work. That's fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that, Alina. So the other question I often ask people is, resilience. I mean, we're going through COVID, we're going through a pandemic. How are you handling it personally?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Sorry. So, oh gosh,
deep question.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but a really important question. So, it's like a roller coaster, really, or like the waves in an ocean. It's up and down. The reason why I shared the story about my father was, I kind of wanted to build a legacy of being able to support entrepreneurs. So mental health is a really important piece of Women in Biz Network. We spend a lot of time focusing on how we can all be more resilient, how we prioritize our mental health, and just little things like doing it together, right? So you and I, we're partnering together to feel less alone. We're channeling our resources and our expertise to work together, because when we do it together, we're able to accomplish more. So, resilience to me is having someone that you really, that you feel psychologically safe with, and reaching out to them and conquering some of these challenges together. Community is a really important part of resilience. And so having, on your fridge, a list of people that when you're really feeling down, that you can call them or text them or something like that, and they're going to be there for you.
That's a good idea. I never thought of that. Feel free to add me to your fridge list if you want.
Yeah, you already are on my fridge.
Oh, what?
Totally. Yeah. And also things that the other thing to put on your little fridge list, and this isn't my idea, by the way. This is from a psychologist who works with first responders. And first, so this psychologist, she herself, when she's tired and exhausted after coming home and she has to be a parent, sometimes she doesn't have the bandwidth. And so she started to tell us on a previous workshop that I was involved in that we all need to remember that we have COVID brain right now. We're not operating at our top levels, right?
Right.
Knowing, like, when you're feeling stable and you're in your prefrontal cortex, you're not in your caveman brain that's reactive and is looking to solve, problems based off of feeling threatened. When we focus on and when we're in a good place, we should have a list of things that we can do to feel better when we've had a bad day. Because ultimately, like, you may not even have had a bad day, but just the impact of the news, the impact of the restrictions, all that stuff, it weighs on us. Being a parent during this, keeping our families safe. Some of us are caregivers in a sandwich generation where we're taking care of our parents and also taking care of our children. I'm personally in that situation.
Me too.
Exhausting. It's exhausting. So people are tired more. People are preparing for the long winter. So there's a lot of things going on right now that when you're in a good place, you should have a plan.
Sure. And again, we're talking to Leigh Mitchell about branding your brilliance and overcoming and enhancing your resilience. And she's a founder of Women in Biz Network. And Wooly is saying amen to the fridge list, which is great. I think people like that. That's a good idea. So I kind of like it too, which is great. So let's get into the topic a little bit more. So, you talk about branding your brilliance, and I guess I want to get into, why is that so important? I mean, you obviously worked with a lot of women entrepreneurs. Why is that so important to really do that, to put the time and energy into it?
Well, there's a number of reasons. I would say the number one reason is that you're not always going to be tied to the same company, the same business. You may change directions. So you need to have a strong personal brand, right? So no matter whether you're an entrepreneur or a professional, I totally recommend making sure that you secure your personal name. So website address. So
right.
LeighMitchell.ca, LeighMitchell.com. And whether you want to put highlights of your career success, what you do, all that kind of stuff. You can use that for, portfolio purposes. You could use it for work in public speaking, that sort of thing. So people know you outside of your business brand. Your personal brand stands out. And like we sort of alluded to earlier, if you don't know who you are and you don't know what your values are, then it's going to be really difficult to run your business at its full capacity and its full abilities. So once you start thinking about, what you stand for and how you can integrate that into the company that you work for or the business you run, it all comes together and you're able to make decisions more clearly with less time and energy. You're able to really stand out and get noticed. And it's just, I think it's a game changer. It's an absolute 100% game changer. And I just wish I had done it earlier.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. And I completely agree with you. I think that one of the things that happens, particularly for either people who are trying to advance their career or build a business, they spend all their time from a branding perspective, strategizing, planning, talking to a couple of people, maybe working with a coach, and they work with their own intuition and they come up with this plan.
Yeah.
But it's not perfectly aligned. It's like 40, 50, 65% there. And what they're not willing to do is they're not willing to do the deep dive work. And so I'm a huge proponent of the deep dive work. And 90% of people avoid doing the deep dive work. They just want to start strategizing and planning right away. Well, I've done this test. I'm working with a coach. I can figure this out. And what happens is that when they launch their social media strategy, after a couple months, they realize, that it's not going as well as they thought, or they start launching their business development plan and they're not getting the leads they're wanting, or they launch their career plan and, within a year or two, it's like, I'm not really feeling this and maybe I need to do something else. And if they just taken the time to dive deep into self-analysis and what I call the discovery phase of personal branding,
Mm-hmm.
When you dive deep in the discovery phase, the self-analysis, self-awareness, surveying, getting feedback from people, diving into your values, interests, skills, and when you really do all that work, and when you finally come really clear on who you are, what your strengths are, who your target audience is, then when you put together your plan for your career or your business or your social media strategy, then you're starting to get 85, 95, 99% alignment. And when you do that, that's when the magic happens. So for me, that's why branding is so important because, and for to your point, your brilliance, you start to really see where your strengths are and how people see your strengths, and that's how you make that impact on the world and create that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think it's so important to do that deep dive work first, because most people don't do that. Once you have that, then you can start working on design your brand and deliver your brand and putting things out there. So
Mm-hmm.
what you said certainly resonates a lot with what I talk about too, which is why I also like you. So
Can I mention one other thing?
great idea. Okay, that's great. But we want questions. So share questions that you have on career and business and taking branding and finding your brilliance and dealing with resilience. So the other question I have for you is when it comes to branding and brilliance, what are the biggest challenges that people have? I mean, you've worked with a lot of women. Like, what are their big challenges that stop them from getting there?
That's a really important question. I think one thing that gets in the way is people's confidence, and they're thinking that, oh, I have to take another certificate or I have to get another credential. They think that they have to do a bunch of things before they get started. So they're sort of procrastinating putting themselves out there because they just want to tweak everything, and and they don't maybe follow the it might be good enough, and that I don't necessarily need to have 1,000 designations to get started. So I think that's one issue. I think the
Okay.
other thing is, and I think a really good point is, I think you have to connect to your why. And so some people
Mm,
maybe don't know that right away, right? So I
yeah.
had a big aha moment yesterday when I was at the Atelier conference, and I was listening to Glennon Doyle, who's just an incredible author and advocate, and someone who's been very vocal on her personal brand about the pain that she's been through. So she talks about depression that she's been through, and about how it's motivated her to want to run this. Her whole thing is, we can do brave things, like we can do hard things.
Mm,
And what I love about what she said yesterday was that when you tap into what your pain points are, it's probably going to lead you towards your passion. So for me, I just had this huge aha moment yesterday that I want my personal brand to be really associated with improving people's mental health, and I can then channel that through my community, through Women in Biz Network, because I know that the women need that, and it's an important part of my own legacy because of my father and because of my own struggles with my mental health. So she really tapped into, maybe your listeners can think about, like, what's a defining moment? What's something that's something that you've gone through that might lead you to understand who you are more, and then you can really build that into your personal brand.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it with the whole finding your why, because
Mm-hmm.
a why statement is very powerful. And I remember one time I was working with somebody just in a coffee shop, and I said, and I was like, she was going about all the numerous things she was planning on doing with her
Mm-hmm.
business, and I was like, have you figured out your why? Because you seem all over the place and not focused.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I haven't. I'm like, I said, listen, let's just do like 20 minutes here. Let me help you figure this out. And in 20 minutes, I asked her certain questions about herself and her target audience. I asked them to imagine who they were, how they felt, and then I said, "Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing this?" And I kept going, and we finally got to a why statement that identified who she was, what her strength was, how she helped people, and how she made them feel, and why she was doing what she was doing. And I remember the look on her face; her eyes just kind of lit, like, "Oh my god! I get this. This is me. This is what I'm doing." And when you see their eyes light up that way, and they realize, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm trying to do, and why I'm doing what I'm doing." it's powerful because it's a catalyst for what you're trying to do. It's a lightning rod to move forward, and it also provides clarity and focus. And
Mhm.
so that's why I'm a huge proponent of the why statement. I think it's really powerful. I mean, I have one and I use it all the time, and when I wake up, I think about it every day, which is my why is there are lost, stuck, or unfulfilled leaders everywhere. And
Mhm.
so I think of those people and how I want to help them with all my content, and even interviewing people like yourself, and that's really why I do what I do. So I think that's really important. The other one, though, I thought I'm not sure you got into it that I found is particularly with women entrepreneurs. You know, they have more statistically speaking, they have more self doubt than men do,
Yeah.
and they really put themselves down and devalue themselves when they shouldn't, because they have incredible brilliance and incredible value, but they need more support and kind of getting there. Can you comment on that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I definitely feel that that's impacted me. It's impacted some of our incredibly qualified mentors that mentor in our mentor circle every month. One of our mentors, Jill, we were just on a call. She was saying, like, I didn't think that I was important enough to focus on the things that I wanted to accomplish. Like, she
Right.
didn't mattered enough. And, this also plays into women tend to not apply for a job unless they're overqualified for it. Whereas
Right.
a man is like, 30% qualified for a job, he'll go for it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Because a lot of stuff you can figure out as you go. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but oftentimes it maybe does, right? Like you
Right.
hear stories of people that like started out in the copy room, and then all of a sudden they're the CEO, right? Because they had grit. They practice the strengths that they want to have, and they don't give up. They
Right.
practice that memory muscle to keep really building on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important part of a personal brand, is if you connect to your why and your purpose, then it should hopefully give you more grit to stick with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that can be a bit of an issue, because we all have down days and we all get exhausted with our personal lives and everything else. But if you can remind yourself every day, like, I am making a difference, and that will help with your resilience and your sticking to it.
And you added something that's really important, which is you need to be part of a community.
Yes.
A support community is going to be really helpful to you as you go through this, because as you have those days of doubt and you're struggling with resilience and you're maybe not seeing your brilliance, you need to have those people that kind of remind you and are there for you to go through it. And you're a community builder, so I mean, I think you and let's talk about that. I mean, talk a bit about the importance of a community.
Oh, I can't say enough about everything that they say around mental health and around getting ahead in business. Is you have to have a strong network of people who will sponsor you, who will cheerlead you, who will challenge you, who will hold you accountable for what they know you have been showing up and saying you want. So I think that's a really important part of being a part of a community, is you put yourself out there and you let people know. Like an example is in our private Facebook group for Women in Biz Network, is this woman, Ella, she posted a thing saying, you know what, I got so much out of a conference that I attended with Leigh. She actually worked for me. And she wanted to give back to the community by offering some of her services complimentary, like an initial consultation. And she got so many responses because of how heartfelt it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I see it all the time, like just people lifting each other up, and taking it a step further. Is like one thing to like cheerlead someone, but like how can you take it to like actually do something meaningful to get them to the next level? You and I, we're doing that right now with each other, and we're taking our own communities and enlisting them to spread the word, because
Mm-hmm.
ultimately people understand that we are trying to make a difference.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, anyone who's watching this, what are your biggest struggles or challenges or goals you have to try to take your life to the next level? I mean, Are you looking to generate more business leads? Are you looking to pivot business? Are you looking to ramp up a thought leadership brand on LinkedIn or elsewhere? What exactly are you trying to do? If you comment below and let us know, like, I'm here with Leigh Mitchell, who's the founder of Women in Business Network and a personal brand strategist. She has lots of opportunities to help you build your brand, to build your community and be part of a community and take that, build that brilliance and build that resilience. And I think that's really important. And I want to add here that for resilience sake, that we're doing an event. The Toronto LinkedIn Local Meetup is doing a virtual LinkedIn Local next week, November 19th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on resilience in the eye of the storm. We have a panel of, it's international because it's virtual. So anyone, doesn't matter where you are, you can join this thing. It's virtual, and we have a speaker from Australia, we have a speaker from the US, and we have 3 speakers from Canada, across Canada. It's going to be an amazing discussion with a couple of keynotes and a couple short talks, and as well as the panel. So I invite you all to try to check that out. And that said, I'm also working with Leigh on another project, and and this is kind of important because maybe we could talk a bit about how you typically work with clients to build their brand, their brilliance, and get them to that next level. So what is typically your methodology, or what do you kind of do to take so if someone's watching this call and like, okay, I want to work with Leigh, or I want to work with Leigh and Bobby, what are they going to take me through? How are they going to get me to that next level? Because we've already talked about the challenges, we've talked about why it's important. Now people are going to want to know, how do we get to branding our brilliance and building resilience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the things about building a community, which is awesome, is that it can bring down your marketing budget, right? Because the more allies that you have, the more people that are referring you, the more opportunities there are to build business. So when the process that we take our clients through is, first we talk to them and ask them, like, what is it that you want to get out of this? Like, ultimately, where do you see yourself in the next number of years? Like, in the perfect world, what would you be doing? And if no one was paying you, what's the one thing that you would do, no matter, like, even if you were getting nothing? Because that's also really important. So we get some clarity around what it is that they want, and the best low hanging fruit of, like, who's in their community, who should they niche towards, how can they position it? Right now, what a lot of people the process that a lot of my clients are going through is repositioning, because all of a sudden now, like, they don't have the opportunities to go and do things in person, right? So They have to think about, like, their online presence and how they could create a new way to market and brand themselves. So we talk about some automation and different things to get them there. I talk a lot about, like, thought leadership and the different ways that you can do that. So first, getting some clarity on what those strengths are. Like, some people like yourself are an incredible public speaker, and maybe you are less likely to want to write blogs, which are still really great for SEO and that thing. But maybe that's your bag. Like, you tend to like to do that more. So we focus on what their strengths are, and then we then think about, like, their mission and their values, and how we're going to position them to the techniques that we're going to use to position them and to amplify their message. And then there's a lot of coaching around feeling a little maybe a little bit nervous about what this might entail, helping with them with the overwhelm of, like, okay, you don't have to set up everything all at once. Let's focus on the things that are going to get you the biggest bang for your buck right now. And then we can, in a few months, roll something else out. So we try to take away the overwhelm of it and just break it down into manageable steps.
Right. And I think that's really great. Again, we're talking to Leigh Mitchell, founder of Women in Business Network, and a personal brand strategist. And we're talking about how we brand our brilliance, how we build resilience, how do we get you to that next level. And I think a lot of people will find great value in what you're offering. I know that, what's really exciting is that you're working on a program, and I'm also working on something with you as well. So Why don't you tell people a bit about what you're working on? And let's put some excitement around this. What are you working on to help women entrepreneurs, but also people who need the help?
Yeah, so right now we're working on the Boost Your Brand course that it's all about finding more purpose and happiness in your professional and business life by tuning into what your brand could be and how to go about it, and then we build it out after. And you and I are going to, so they're gonna. I've already had the great privilege of taking your course and working through it, and it's really well laid out. It's really easy to follow. And what you and I cooked up was that we would offer, well, first of all, let's just say that because it's a pandemic, and because you're newly building this course out, you're taking something that's worth thousands of dollars and you're giving it to them for I think it's $199, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then on top,
just for like a month or so. Like the
yes,
plan is, so normally this program. So when I do a workshop, for example, my day long workshop would be anywhere between $400 to $700 for the day. But this course is even more than that, and so we're launching it. Normally it's $1,000, but we're launching it for $197 just for 2 months.
Yeah, so $197, and I like the fact that we've tightened up the timeline, right? Because if people give themselves too much time, then they'll procrastinate. So you work through the modules and you do the exercises, and you let Bobby and I know what you want to get out of it and that sort of thing, which I think is a great aspect of the course. You even get to record your voice, and if you don't want to type it out, you can record what you say, what you want to get out of it. But you and I, halfway through this, are going to offer a ridiculous opportunity. Like, I still can't believe we're even doing this, but it is a pandemic, and we do really want to make a difference in people's lives. So on top of this incredible course, we're also going to have a deep dive, you and I, with whoever's in the course, to go over how it's going. And so then you have that community again of people who are going to champion you, and we're all going to talk together halfway through and offer a deep dive session with 2 experts, all for this $197. And as we said, it's a short time because obviously that's not a sustainable price for you or myself. And, we charge a lot more than that to work with us. But, we want to give back. And so they're going to get a lot out of this. And then we're also planning some follow-ups for coaching after they've done the course as well.
Yeah. And so what I would say is that a good summary of this is, number one, you're going to get access to this really comprehensive course. It's basically 4 C's here. The comprehensive course is going to self-directed. You're going to go through all the information. There's tons of work to be done, but it's going to give you a foundation to build your plan moving forward. Number 2, you're going to get coaching, not just one person, but coaching times 2. You get to work with both of us on weekly calls, and we're going to take you through the entire process to get to that next level. And number 3, the third C is going to be community. You're going to have a community, both Leigh's community, my community, but you're going to be a part of a community of people that are going to help you take your business or career to that next level. And finally, there's continuity, because it's follow-up and accountability to make sure that you are ready for 2021 to take your business or your life to that next level. So that's really what this opportunity is all about. So definitely. We'll definitely put some links in the comments for you to check out. But certainly, if you want to reach out to Leigh and have more questions, what's a good way for people to reach out to you, Leigh, to talk about this or ask questions?
Yeah, so they can connect with me on social media. So I am on Instagram, leighmitchell.ca on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a power user of LinkedIn. I love anyone to connect with me, so they can just search my name, Leigh Mitchell, will come up, connect with me. You can also visit our website. There's information about the course on the website. So if you go to womeninbiznetwork.com, you can check out our programs, including this branding course. And then if you want to get some more information about my personal branding services, you can go to leighmitchell.ca. Yeah.
Awesome. So, and if anybody, and again, we didn't get as many questions on this call, but if you have any questions, even after you're watching the replay, because this will be posted everywhere, right? So if you have a question, just post questions below, tag us, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, or whatnot, and then we'll try to get back to you with those questions. Because, yeah, part of this broadcast is to provide value for you and wherever you are on your journey, or wherever you're struggling. And and the truth is, we've struggled too, and even pandemic. I mean, the pandemic has affected my business. I have two businesses. One was events based, and the other one was speaking based, and both of them have been impacted by the pandemic. But we're doing what we can to find other ways to help people. So, that's really what I want to make sure people understand. It's totally okay, and I hope you guys check out the course. And again, we're doing a LinkedIn local next week. I also should mention a couple of things since I'm on the call with people. What I'm doing next week, I'm doing another workshop that's free for Intuit.ca. On actually LinkedIn and social media, building a digital presence. I'm also running my storytelling masterclass workshop at the end of this month. So people want to create better stories or work on their own personal video story for 3 minutes. That's something you can reach out to. And hopefully I'll be doing more of these live streams. I haven't been doing very much lately. I've been kind of focused on other things. But I think that I'll probably try to keep a steady rhythm of one live stream per week, usually on Wednesday mornings at 8:45 a.m. So Leigh, I really do appreciate time. I do love the work you're doing. I think you're a great person to collaborate with, and I'm excited to work on this program with you. So thank you so much for coming by today.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I just can't think of a better time to work on your personal brand when it's a little bit quieter. I think everyone is feeling slightly more reflective. I think this time has people are changing their lives up, right? They're moving to different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And it's an important time where people can reflect, so that when the world is going to reopen, and you want to be ready for the world reopening.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Leigh. Listen, so everyone, thanks so much for joining the Power of Connection broadcast. Put your questions below. Share this with your friends. Tag people, and I will see you guys next time. All the best. Have a safe and happy weekend. And I'm off celebrating my daughter's 10th birthday tomorrow, so that's what I'll be doing. What are you going to be doing this
Friday
weekend?
the 13th.
I know today's Friday the 13th. I've never really been into that, but I know a lot of people, they're like, ooh. But yeah. What are you doing this weekend?
We're in a pandemic. It can't be any weirder than it already is.
Yeah, I know. And I know your son had a 16th birthday. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Aww.
Our kids have birthdays close together. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. All right. Well, listen, thanks so much, everybody. Talk soon.
Thank you.